Good morning. Welcome to the special called City Council meeting. We appreciate everybody being here. We'll call the meeting to order. We do have a quorum, and we'll declare the meeting open. I'm going to ask Councilmember Sean Tiemann if he'll lead us in the pledge and invocation, please.
Stand for pledge. Thank you. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you would bow your heads with me. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, God, Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for the sunshine and the beautiful weather, Lord. Lord, watch over us, lead, guide, and direct us in all the decisions that we make for the citizens of Sherman and this great city, Lord. Lord, be with our first responders and bring them home safely at the end of all of their shifts, Lord, and be with all of our city team members as they're out doing city business. In your most holy name, I pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Thank you, Sean. All right, Council, we have several meeting minutes to approve. We've got the called City Council meeting of April 20th, 2023, our budget planning meeting, the regular City Council meeting of May 15th, 2023, and the called City Council meeting of May 25th. And that was the CIP update. And then the called meeting of May 25th, which was the Main Street walking tour. Anybody see anything on those they wanted to change?
I move to approve the meeting of April 20th, 2023, the regular council meeting of May 15th, 2023, the CIP meeting of May 25th, 2023, and the called walking tour of downtown Sherman on May 25th, 2023.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Council. All right, we are to citizen comments. Does anybody have anything to speak to the council about regarding today's agenda? Okay. If not, we'll move on to consent. These items are considered to be routine and will be enacted in one motion without discussion unless a council member or a citizen requests a specific item be discussed and voted on separately. The consent agenda includes items E8, E9, E10, E11, F1, and F2. Would anybody like these broken apart for any reason?
Move to approve consent.
Second.
Motion is second for consent. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we've got some the double asterisk items. These are items considered to be routine and will be enacted in one motion, subject to the staff review letter without discussion unless a council member or citizen requests a specific item be discussed and voted on separately. The consent agenda subject to staff review letter includes items H2, H3, H4, H5, H6, and H7. Would anybody like these broken apart for any reason?
Move to approve the double asterisk consent agenda with the approval of the staff review.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Council. All right, at this time, we're going to open public hearing. Linda, if you'll read item D1 for us, please.
Final Statement Action Plan for Program Year 2023 Community Development Block Grant.
Okay. Thank you, Linda. Mary?
Hi, good morning.
Morning.
This is our annual approval and public hearing of the Community Development Block Grant. The companion resolution to adopt the action plan is item E4. This year, or for next year, we're funded about $308,000. We use some of that for administration, public service, a park improvement, and for demolitions. We received about 15 different applications for assistance, and we were able to fund all the agencies that applied.
Okay. Thank you, Mary. Is there anyone here to address this item this morning? No? Okay. Linda, if you'll read item D2 for us, please.
Ordinance 6598, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sherman renewing the designation of the Residential Reinvestment Zone Number 10, City of Sherman, Texas, for the purpose of residential tax abatement and raise the eligibility cap of the residential tax abatement for the Residential Reinvestment Zone Number 10, City of Sherman, Texas, from $100,000 to $150,000.
Okay. Thank you, Linda. Rob?
Yep, Mayor Council, this item is to update our tax abatement zone, residential tax abatement from, it's required to update every 5 years. We did update it 2 years ago, but due to increased inflation and construction costs, $100,000 as a cost to allow for that tax abatement is pretty low. And so we're getting fewer and fewer applicants to fall in that category. So staff is requesting that number to be increased to $150,000. This was a goal of the comprehensive plan to continue the residential tax abatement program, and we'd recommend approval.
Okay, thank you, Rob. Is there anyone here to address this item this morning? Okay, if not, we'll close public hearing and consider the adoption of ordinances. Council, questions, comments, motions?
I have a question, and that is, I noticed that our community block grant money keeps dropping a little bit every year. Is there anything in particular? What makes the decision on that? Is it just the federal government deciding, or what?
It is a formula. Jana, do you have any additional insight on that?
I've asked our grant done on an algorithm.
Okay.
Right?
Really?
No, but probably not. When you use the word algorithm, we just lost it.
They clearly have never seen Mary's Excel spreadsheet.
This is the federal government, so I will not say.
I just want to make, if there was anything we could do in order to keep the money up, if there was something specific, that's why I was asking.
Oh, and that's a great point. I wish there was, but
Okay,
it's
that's
a
fine.
surprise
Thank you.
every year. Yeah.
Okay.
I move to approve D1 and D2 as written.
Second.
Okay, motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, council. All right, Linda, if you'll read E1 for us, please.
Resolution 7080, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Sherman determining a public necessity to acquire by eminent domain certain property interests for public use, including permanent water easement and temporary construction easement for the construction, expansion, access, repair, and maintenance of public water and other utility improvements, consisting of 2 tracts of land comprising more or less 0.745 acres permanent water easement and a more or less 0.827 acres for a temporary construction easement owned by Meadow Lake 10 Investments, LLC, recorded under document number 2022-00007640 of the official public records of Grayson County, Texas, within the George R. Reeves Survey, abstract number 1020, Grayson County, Texas, as deemed necessary by the city manager or his designee, giving notice of an official determination to acquire the permanent water easement and temporary construction easement for public use by eminent domain for such uses, authorizing the city manager of the City of Sherman, Texas, to establish procedures for acquiring the easements, offering to acquire the easements voluntarily from the landowner through the making of bona fide offers, appropriating funds.
Okay. Thank you, Linda. Clint?
So E1, 2, and 3 are all similarly related to the water line project that we're doing on the west side of Sherman. These are coming back to you because the appraisals or the counteroffers came back over 50,000. And so because of the timeliness of this project, we're wanting to move forward with the process of eminent domain. It doesn't mean that we won't stop trying to negotiate before commissioners are set, but that process does take some time. So we're moving through that process with Abernathy Roeder to get that done. But these 3 are required approval for you guys specific to the amount of acreage in order to proceed with those processes. We are making strides on getting the easement signed and closed out along the right-of-way. I've had 4 different meetings this week. We've got 3 more next week to try to get these closed and get the parties' value that they both agree to. But these are 3 of the cases. There will most likely be others that we can't get to an agreement on, so we need to proceed condemnation.
Thank you, Clint. Council, questions, discussions?
So Clint, I know you've got these 3 resolutions on the 3 different projects, which I haven't got to the other 2 yet. But and I know we stuck a top end of $50,000 for you guys to negotiate for these projects and so I understand the need on some of these projects with higher value properties to be able to get approval to negotiate higher than that. So I can appreciate y'all bringing these back because I know they need more money than just $50,000. My question is there's the property owners in this general area have asked certain things about the placement of the pipeline and also, how that value is going to, how they're going to be able to negotiate that value. Can you give us some explanation on the placement of the pipeline, maybe why it's being chose to go here? Is that the only place it can go and all those?
Right, so we did an alignment study and looked at several, I think 3 different options, multiple locations. What you don't see on this map is the existing gas lines that run along Lambert Road. So there are 2 existing gas lines with an existing easement that runs there. Most of the easements that we are acquiring are along boundaries of properties or along future right-of-ways. In this case, because of the gas line easement, it didn't make sense from a development standpoint to try to put it adjacent to that easement, because then you end up having a gas easement and then water line easement, then temporary construction easement. And so the frontage along Lambert would be essentially 100 feet that you couldn't build within. So the next task was to look and see what's reasonable offsetting that from the road, which would still allow for development to occur. The North Texas Municipal Water District has an 80-foot easement that runs through Sherman. It currently has a 72-inch line with plans to have a second 84-inch line. That easement does run through subdivisions. It does run through O'Hanlon Ranch. It runs through our parks. And I would argue that if you didn't know where it was, you probably wouldn't be able to point it out to me. So part of their argument is that the devalue from a development standpoint. So we're hoping to have meetings with them to help explain some of those issues with them in order to get a better price negotiated.
And that's the concept with all of the alignment, right? Kind of took the path of least resistance, considered where there are existing roads, considered where there are existing easements of gas and other utilities. And, the alignment that was ultimately selected was nobody wants this, but the alignment was the least worst of any of these. So I think that's the process that they went through, all up and down. I think it's about 14 miles or
15 miles.
15 miles. But that same concept throughout, from the plant all the way down to the south end of town. So
I know it says 45 foot wide. What's the defined easement once it's complete of construction?
So permanent easement is 45 feet. These have 2 different acreages. One, the smaller one is the permanent water line easement, which is 45 feet. The second one is a 50-foot temporary construction easement that in all of our easement documents terminates after 2 years. So the intent of that is so the contractor has room to work and station dirt spoils and material and all that as he's building the pipeline. And we currently have Garver. No.
Breeze.
Oh, no, the contractor.
Garney.
Garney as CMAR and pre-construction services to ensure that 50 foot is enough for them to do the project. So that one goes away. The 45 stays. Roads can be put across it. You can't build a structure on top of it. There are ways to.
parking lot, can you do parking
You can do a
lots?
parking lot, yeah. And we do allow them to have main extensions off of those lines. So we don't want a 3/4 inch tap off of a 36-inch transmission line, but we do allow 12-inch taps off of it to do any fire protection and development services. If you're doing a subdivision, that line would be there to be allowed to tap off of.
I know most of us probably don't appreciate eminent domain as property owners. Nobody likes eminent domain. And so on these particular projects that we have in front of us, have we appraised these properties?
Yes.
And the negotiations are just so far apart in appraised value versus what the ask is?
Yeah, typically we have a range so all the properties are appraised. 100% of the properties have been appraised, and those values have been established on what our initial offer is. And then counter offers, there's a range that I'll a certain amount. I'm not going to say publicly what that amount is.
Sure.
But then there's also a cost for legal fees for eminent domain. And so once you get out of those ranges, there's obviously times it doesn't make sense to go to eminent domain because it's going to cost more. In those cases, we negotiate. But some of these
These were off by multiples, not percentages.
yes.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I'll say that I can't stand eminent domain. I don't like it at all. I do understand the need to be able to negotiate over $50,000 because these properties are higher value than that. And so, with that understanding, I would rather you guys work through a negotiation with the property owners that's equitable for both sides, that doesn't end in eminent domain. I'd be inclined to motion to approve this the way it's written in here in our agenda, just to give you guys the authority to continue up above 50,000. But I would ask that you negotiate with them and don't take it to eminent domain. So I'll make the motion based on the way it's written here. I move that the city council of the city of
Councilman,
Sherman.
if I could request that that we have a public hearing, if anyone in the audience
I'm
wishes
sorry.
to speak on this before a motion's made.
Okay, no problem.
You want to have a public hearing on this?
Well,
On a
just
resolution?
an opportunity for people to speak if they wish on this item and the next.
Okay.
And the next one and the next one.
Is there anyone here to speak on this item this morning?
That'd be all three of them?
So we can do.
You can do it all
just
at this time.
Okay. For the next three items, is there anyone here to speak on these items? Okay. Okay.
So now we're good with the motion?
Yes.
Okay. Continue
All right.
or start over?
Yep. So I hate eminent no. I move that the city council of the city of Sherman authorize the use and power of eminent domain to acquire 2 tracts of land comprising plus or minus 0.745 acres and at a plus or minus 0.827 acres as described in Exhibit A to the resolution for a permanent water easement and temporary construction easement.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right. Linda, if you'll read E2 for us, please.
Resolution 7081, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Sherman determining a public necessity to acquire by eminent domain certain property interest for public use, including permanent water easement and temporary construction easement for the construction, expansion, access, repair, and maintenance of public water and other utility improvements, consisting of 2 tracts of land comprising more or less 1.369 acres permanent water easement and a more or less 1.521 acres for a temporary construction easement owned by Winbo, Wong, and Lingha Kong, recorded under document number 2021-000-17914 of the official public records of Grayson County, Texas, within the George R. Reeves Survey Abstract number 1020, Grayson County, Texas, as deemed necessary by the city manager or his designee, giving notice of an official determination to acquire the permanent water easement and temporary construction easement for public use by eminent domain for such uses, authorizing the city manager of the city of Sherman, Texas, to establish procedures for acquiring the easements, offering to acquire the easements voluntarily from the landowner through the making of bona fide offers appropriating funds.
Okay. Thank you, Linda. Clint, same, anything different?
No.
Okay. Council?
If there's no public comment, no further questions, I move that the city council of the city of Sherman authorize the use of the power of the eminent domain to acquire 2 tracts of land comprising plus or minus 1.369 acres and a plus minus 1.529 acres as described in Exhibit A to the resolution for a permanent water easement and temporary construction easement.
Second.
Got a motion, a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, council. All right, Linda, if you'll read E3 for us, please.
Resolution 7082, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Sherman determining a public necessity to acquire by eminent domain certain property interest for public use, including permanent water easement and temporary construction easement for the construction, expansion, access, repair, and maintenance of public water and other utility improvements, consisting of 2 tracts of land comprising of more or less 1.913 acres permanent water easement and more or less 1.710 acres for a temporary construction easement, owned by Case Road LLC, recorded under document number of the official public records of Grayson County, Texas, within the Elijah N. Deaver Survey, abstract number 358, Grayson County, Texas, as deemed necessary by the city manager or his designee, giving notice of an official determination to acquire the permanent water easement and temporary construction easement for public use by eminent domain for such uses, authorizing the city manager of the city of Sherman, Texas, to establish procedures for acquiring the easements, offering to acquire the easements voluntarily from the landowner through the making of bona fide offers appropriating funds.
Thank you, Linda. Anything different, Glenn? Okay, council?
I'm going to agree with Sean on this. Eminent domain is, nobody likes it. I've actually been permanently impacted or was historically impacted by eminent domain at a house that I owned. The first reaction is always knee-jerk. Communication from our staff is key, and empathy. Nobody likes it. Nobody wants it, so we need to listen, present the facts. But ultimately, I was able to overcome that years ago. So it's not what anyone likes, and I do agree with Sean. But regarding this, I move that the City Council of the City of Sherman authorize the use of power of eminent domain to acquire 2 tracts of land comprising of 1.913 acres and a 1.710 acres as described in Exhibit A to the resolution for permanent water easement and temporary construction easement.
Second.
Okay, motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, council. All right, Linda, if you'll read E4 for us, please.
Resolution 7083, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Sherman authorizing publication of the proposed final statement action plan for the Community Development Block Grant for program year 2023, authorizing submission of the block grant application, authorizing execution of certifications of compliance in connection with the administration and conduct of the Community Development Program for program year 2023.
Okay, thank you, Linda. Mary?
This is the resolution to adopt the block grant as was discussed in the public hearing.
I'll move to approve Resolution 7083.
Second.
Okay, motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, council. All right, Linda, if you'll read E5 for us, please.
Resolution 7084, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Sherman awarding a bid to and authorizing execution of a contract with Lynn Vessels Construction, LLC, based on an invitation to bid for the Hickory Hill off-site water and sanitary sewer improvements.
Okay, thank you, Linda. There's Tom. There you are. Hey, Tom. Good morning.
Good morning, Mayor. Good morning, council. Kind of unusual referring to y'all in the morning. So we opened bids on this water and sewer line, and we had 7 responsive bidders, I believe, 3 of which were very close. Low bid being Lynn Vessels Construction in the amount of $2,118,993. Or wait a minute, I'm sorry. Is that right? $1,787,773.86. Of which the city will be in a cooperative agreement with the developer who will pay a portion of that as well. The engineering firm that we had design this reviewed the qualifications and have made recommendation to award this project to them. If you have any questions, I'll be answer any questions, council.
I'll also mention that when we originally did the master development agreement, the terms of who was going to pay for what were established. The initial intent was the developer would put all of it in at the beginning. Because of some market conditions, a little bit has changed. We will be bringing back on the 26th an updated MDA that doesn't change who pays for what, but who installs what. So the developer is here today to vouch that he's willing and able to pay for his share of the on-site, or actually off-site, water and sewer as part of the original master development agreement. The intent was to help speed up the utility needs of the single family for rent development inside this plan development and the multifamily.
Okay, council questions, discussions?
So Tom, I know that we have a $300,000 contingency in here for change orders.
Yes, sir.
We have a change order coming later to us in this meeting. Vessels has done a great job for us in the past on a lot of projects. He understands that there's only $300,000 in change orders going to be allowable on this project, right?
He's familiar with that, yes. He knew that was in his bid.
Okay. I mean, this is the first one we've seen from him since we've done this, and so I just want to make sure.
Correct. I think we're currently right at our budget, what we had originally allocated for this project, very close. If we come in under that, we'll just be bonus by about 300,000.
Okay. Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, council. All right, Linda, if you'll read E6 for us, please.
Resolution 7085, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Sherman declaring the City of Sherman's eligibility and intention to participate in a residential tax abatement program to promote development, redevelopment in certain areas of the city, establishing guidelines and criteria.
Okay, thank you. Rob?
Yeah, this is a companion item to item D2 that was approved earlier. This is the resolution for the residential tax abatement. It is required to be updated or renewed every 2 years. It expired in April of this year, and we are requesting that to be updated.
Okay, council questions, comments?
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, Linda, if you'll read E7 for us, please.
Resolution 7086, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Sherman authorizing execution of a professional services agreement with TAF Associates Incorporated for the update of the City of Sherman's subdivision ordinance and the creation of a development process guide.
Okay, thank you. Rob?
Yeah, Mayor, Council, this, Wayne and I have been wanting to update the subdivision ordinance since we started here at the City of Sherman. We don't really have the time right now to be able to update that, and development pressure is making us want to have that done. I've requested our on-call planning consultant to provide us with a scope and fee for updating the subdivision ordinance, and they have provided us with that scope and fee. We'd recommend council approve that. We've also asked them to provide scope and language for to update or to create a development guide for the City of Sherman to help communicate to developers coming into town what are the process, what's the path from beginning to end to get developments approved. That fee, the proposed fee was $85,000, and Half Associates has committed to a schedule of having the subdivision ordinance done by December of this year.
Can you explain what the subdivision ordinance is? Just a little explanation.
Yeah, so the subdivision ordinance, last year we updated the zoning ordinance. That's chapter 14 of our ordinance. The subdivision ordinance is chapter 10. It regulates parcels and properties in the City of Sherman. So when someone comes in to plat a property, that ordinance is what guides the regulations for that. Sets the when the hearings are for P&Z and for council for platting and development.
I think it's a great idea. I move to approve. Second.
Okay, motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, Linda, if you'll read G1 for us, please.
Change order number 2, Moore Street from West Travis Street to Heritage Parkway Project, Lynn Vessels Construction LLC, $114,650.89 increase.
Okay. Thank you. Clint?
So this change order is also the final change order for this project. We'll close it out. They've paved everything up to 1417. There was a gas line that was in the way of the street crossing that had to be relocated. And then it was found that our 20-inch water line was also in the way. Engineers looked at two different options. One was to relocate the water line. The other was to encase the water line with steel encasement. Based on lead times and cost, it was determined that encasing it was the best option. So this is a scope change for what Vessels is required to do. And so the change order to encase the pipe so that they can pave over is $120,000. Knowing that we were so close to the end of the project, we went ahead and finalized out and reconciled all of the quantities and pricing for the rest of the items. And so the net result of that was an actual reduction in overall contract by 6,000. So the net of 120,000 minus the 6, the result is the change order of 114,000.
And this scope change was our request. It's got to be done one way or the other. It's got to be done. So this wasn't a scope creep. It was a change based on conditions that became apparent after we were nearly done with the project.
So when will the street be finished?
Great.
August 31st is the extension that we've allowed.
And we're sure we're not gonna find ghosts, it's not gonna be haunted or nuclear radiation or pretty confident?
So before school starts.
We are ready for this project to be.
School starts like August 1st, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
She's been out of the game for a little while, Clint.
Hey, that's getting it done.
Okay.
I move to approve G.
Second.
Okay, motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Council. Linda, if you'll read H1 for us, please.
Consider cancellation of the June 19th, 2023 regular city council meeting and add called city council meeting on Monday, June 26, 2023.
Okay. Robbie?
Yeah, so we are proposing to, instead of having two meetings, one on June 19th and one on June 26th, that we combine those to June 26th. There are some items from our previously scheduled June 5th meeting that by law could not have been handled until about June 26th. So we're just proposing, for efficiency's sake, that we combine those into one meeting on June 26th and cancel the June 19th meeting.
Council, y'all think?
Move
I
to
approve. Motion to approve.
Okay,
second.
got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Ask them to move that anyway.
Yeah.
So with that, we are down to council comments. Justin, I'm gonna start with you.
No comments today. Thank you.
No comment.
My comment would be that we're in the middle of, well, not in the middle, but we've started hot summer nights. We've had two. The first one, it was fun to watch the people out dancing and the kids dance and everything. And that was really enjoyable. And then last night was a little different and a little more upbeat, thanks to the mayor and Sarah.
So did
And
you dance?
it was very good also, and well attended last night.
You dance, Dave?
None for me, Mr. Mayor.
I believe the attendance was up because of that Back to the Future commercial that the mayor did with the.
The dog was actually there. People came to see the dog, right, Sarah?
Yeah, no comments from me.
Nothing for me either.
All right, just a few announcements this morning. We've had a spectacular start to Hot Summer Nights 2023 with two great shows, 2 days of great weather, and two great crowds. Join us next week for Boston lead singer Tommy DiCarlo. And on June 22nd for the Josh Abbott Band. Shows start at 7 p.m. right across the street over here at Key Park. So Tommy DiCarlo, Sarah. I'm not going to say anything about age, but it's coming in. Downtown Sherman's newest business, Ash and Barrel, will have a ribbon cutting next Tuesday, the 13th at 11 a.m. Join the Chamber of Commerce to help celebrate another great addition to downtown. And finally, Monday Madness is happening at the Municipal Building on Monday mornings, co-sponsored by the library and Sherman Parks and Rec. Come see free shows for the whole family by great performers like the Comedy Arena All Ages Comedy Show and Professor Pop's Bubble Show and more.
What, Teresa, what time are those? 10 a.m.
10 a.m. Okay. So at this time, the City Council will now hold a closed executive session pursuant to the Texas Open Meetings Act at Section 551.071 to receive legal advice regarding the possible expansion of the Grayson County Jail and at Section 551.087 to discuss the hospital project and downtown incentives. So at 11:34, we'll dismiss into executive session. Thank you.